What's happening, everybody? 2 days until the NBA trade deadline, and a couple of hours, I suppose. 2 days and about 3 hours from the time of recording, but you guys are watching it. It's about 2 days. It's Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. I'm Dan Bespris, at Dan Bespris on Twitter, at Old Man Squad on the Blue Sky Network. Welcome to the show. We are continuing our wonderful series of expert guest analysts and stashes, talking trade deadline, talking second half, talking silly season. And today, in about 45 seconds, we'll have my good buddy Alex Barutha on the program. But first, I got to remind you guys that this show and all of our shows brought to you by our friends at Bet Online. This is the best week for it right now. Super Bowl Sunday coming up in just, what the hell is today? Tuesday? 5 days? It's 5 days away now, which means more updated odds and hundreds, you hear me? Triple digit, hundreds of prop bets, MVP odds, exclusive in-game live betting opportunities. All of that stuff is going on over at BetOnline on Super Sunday. Thus, BetOnline now becomes your ultimate game day companion. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-timer, BetOnline offers you everything and more to enhance that game day experience. So head to the website today and make the action a little bit more fun. BetOnline, the game starts here. Hit that like button, subscribe to everything we're doing over here at Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball, and bid a proper hello to the man himself, Alex Barutha. You can find him on social media at Barutha Alex on Twitter, and it's just Barutha over on the Blue Sky Network. Thank you for throwing that up on the screen as well, so I could read it verbatim. Made my life very simple. Made me seem like I knew what I was doing over here. Alex, I was going back to a show of ours from way back, and you were in the process of moving. I don't think I ever asked you, how'd the move go?
Oh, it went well. I mean, it's moving two people instead of one person is definitely it's a whole another
More.
process, a lot more stuff, but no, it's gone well. We really like our new place.
Outstanding. Happy to hear it. You've landed softly, is what I'm hearing. You have, by your own admission, like a laundry list of names that we could explore leading up to the trade deadline. So I'm gonna just kind of put the ball in your court and see where you'd like to run with. Who are some of the you feel most interesting ones? Or maybe it makes more sense to just lightning round them all out and we can sort of pick and choose the ones that are the most interesting from that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is there are basically a handful of teams that sort of fall into range, right? The teams at the bottom of the standings. So as an example, I could throw out the Wizards, like the Washington Wizards. Maybe they trade Brogdon and Kuzma to the Bucks is apparently a rumor. As a Bucks fan, I'm like, I I don't believe that,
Oh
but
yeah, I saw that this morning. I forgot I should have asked you about that.
I was joking on Blue Sky that the Bucks if only trade for washed up forwards. So if they are targeting you, you're
then
done.
you then you know
Your
you
career's
know
over
you're old as
already.
hell.
Yeah, I mean Danilo Gallinari, Serge Ibaka, DeMarcus Cousins, like these guys played for the Bucks like 2 years ago.
Oh my god.
Um,
Feels like 14 years ago if that counts for anything.
it does. Okay, so the Wizards, for example, like yeah, maybe they trade their vets, and then there are some of the more obvious names, right? Like we talk about Koulibaly and Bob Carrington and Keyshawn George, and I think all of these guys can be fantasy relevant for different reasons, right? But I also wonder about Jared Butler because like the stats would tell you, per minute fantasy wise, that Jared Butler is probably actually the best fantasy option or the highest ceiling fantasy option of someone you could pick up off the waiver wire that's like 1% rostered. The problem is Butler, and Justin Champagnie, who's also on this team,
Mm.
all are on two-way contracts. So my gut tells me, once the G League season's over in mid-March, these guys will definitely be playing, but maybe they trade their vets and then they upgrade these guys to standard deals because how could you not? They're young guys, they've played well for you. So those two guys are especially interesting to me, and I feel like are not they're higher risk options for maybe people in deeper leagues.
Is that more you're thinking more towards silly season necessarily than trade deadline?
It could be both,
Uh,
because I
Interesting.
could, yeah, I could totally see, Brogdon getting moved and Kuzma getting moved and Valanciunas getting moved, and then all of a sudden Champagne's playing 28 minutes a game. But yeah, I think silly season will be when these guys really pop off. But I would just say, I definitely Carrington and Keyshawn George, right? Butler
Would
and
you
and Champagne are more like fringe options.
of all of the guys on the Wizards, because I think one, two, three, four, I think we talked about, I think you had 6 of them there, if I'm counting,
Yeah.
if I'm remembering right. Are any you think worth using a roster spot pre-deadline, or are these react guys? I probably should have created this like nomenclature a week and a half or 3 weeks ago or something, because it's like, who do we actually spend a roster slot on, and who are the guys where you have the browser tab open to click it on the moment you
Sure.
see something go down? Where do these 6 names fall for you on that sort of grading scale?
I will say, if for some reason Koulibaly is available in your league, I do have a really tough time gauging how many leagues Koulibaly is available in. I'm in a 12-team league, and I picked him up off the waiver wire the other day. I dropped somebody I just like was not using. Very confusing to me. So, because to me, he was basically never a drop, or maybe in a 10-team league. So, if for some reason Koulibaly's out there, just go and grab him. You know, the other guys are maybe more like 14-team league. I want to get out ahead of Keyshawn George and Buck
Got it.
Carrington. And then Jared Butler and Champagny are like 16-team league. I'm
Yeah,
desperate. I need a flyer. He's maybe a $1 fab bid or something for me.
got it. Okay, so that's the Wizards. What's the next crapper team you want to look at?
Well, the Bulls are on top of mine because they just traded Zach LaVine,
That's a fun
and
one for the
I
first
have
time ever.
yes, I have been. I've been saying Jalen Smith has been a stash option like all year. I mean, he was like a deep sleeper for me before the season started.
Mhm.
I'm like, if you're in a 16-teamer, couldn't hurt, 2 center leagues, grab him, see what happens. But then in this Levine trade, they get Zach Collins and Vucevic, as of right now, still on the team. And so part of me is wondering, like, is Jalen Smith still is he still a deadline stash? Is Zach Collins now a deadline stash? Are they both stashes? So I like, how do you feel about those guys at this
Yeah,
point?
I was saying on yesterday's show that worries me a little bit. That now it's like, all right, even if Vooch gets moved, are those two guys just going to split it right down the middle, and then neither one ends? Although, like 24 minutes for Jalen Smith actually gets him pretty
It
close.
does.
He doesn't. It'd be nice to get him to 28 or 29, but I think I'd be satisfied with 24. So if I was already stashing Jalen Smith, I probably would continue to do so, because you don't want to use up a move this week to like move off a guy that you were stashing for a different stash. Um, Collins, I think I would probably just sit and wait, because I guess there's still a chance that maybe he's not on the team in 2 days. I have no idea what the Bulls plan on doing with Zach Collins. We know he's sort of like a little bit of an enforcer at this point of his NBA career, which is weird because he's not an old guy. He just went from like young guy to old guy. There was no mid career for Zach Collins. So I'm gonna still cross my fingers, because for how many years have we all tried to figure out what the Bulls are actually doing as a team, and we haven't really gotten it right,
Right.
because we've gone with logic, we've gone with reason over everything else. So I'm hoping, like, the fact that they got rid of Zach LaVine was finally we checked one box on, okay, Bulls, you're finally doing something right here. Not
Right.
because we don't like Zach LaVine, but because they need to lose. It's time to lose. It's time to not gun for the 10 seed. So my hope would be, look, they got Jalen Smith. He's a guy to explore. He's still young. Like, you don't
Yeah.
really know what you have there. So I'm going to still sit on him. What do you think?
I feel the same way. I mean, the thing is, they're both like they can. Zach Collins can kind of play the four. Jalen Smith has played some minutes at the four. I do wonder if there's the pure upside scenario where they're both able to get high 20s minutes because they play some minutes together because they can both space the floor. And then it's like, because the other day they started 4 point guards in Vucevic, and it's like, I don't know, how much are they gonna play Trey Jones and Kevin Herter? Like, what are they gonna do with their rotation? So I think you mostly said it though.
I apologize. This isn't supposed
No,
to be my. This is supposed to be a guest show. Someone needs to cut me off because I'm acting like a butthead. There, I finally managed to get Jalen Smith's face up in the background. It only took me until the end of us talking about Jalen Smith. Does anybody else interest you on the Bulls? I mean, other than, like, how do you feel about Lonzo? How do you feel about Ayo Dosunmu? I've been pretty excited actually about those guys lately.
yeah, Dosunmu has always been just like a solid option. I feel like he every time I look at his stat line, it's like 14, 4, and 4. He
Yeah.
just doesn't really deviate off of that too much, and that's like fine, for a standard league. And I love the idea of Lonzo. I mean, I think a lot of people started rostering Lonzo like 2-3 weeks ago when
Yeah.
it was very clear that he was rounding into form, and I think he's only proven that as a starter over the past 7 games. Um, you know, so yeah, I mean, go ahead and roster him. I don't know what they'll do late in the season in March. Like, will they sit Lonzo? Is he going to be actually a victim of tanking? That is a little confusing. But as of right now, I'd be comfortable rostering him.
Okay, so we've got the Wizards, we've got the Bulls. What's the next destination on our journey? I feel, by the way, in my mind, what we're doing right now is like in Street Fighter when you go from one opponent to the
Oh,
next, and the airplane takes you
yeah.
to different parts of the country or world. So are we gonna go? Are we gonna go battle Balrog next?
Yes. Balrog being the Pelicans.
The Pelicans and Balrog.
As
I don't know. I think my metaphor broke down. Yeah. What the hell are the Pels gonna do now?
uh, that I that is exactly what I have written down on my Google Doc here. What is going on with them?
Yeah,
Because they're 12 and 38. I mean, they're I think they're losing, like, they're 4 and 9 or something with Zion in the lineup. They're not winning games even when
oh,
Zion plays at this point.
terrible. Yeah.
So, and is Brandon Ingram going to get traded? If he does, what's coming back? We have DeJounte Murray out for the season now.
Herb
So
is
I think
probably out for the season.
Yeah, so I think the safest answer to all of this is, like, maybe just roster Jose Alvarado for now and then see what happens around that. And then, but they also, remember BJ Boston? That used to be a thing. He's
Yeah.
still on a two-way deal. So then it's like, well, if they're tanking, then it's like, do they make him a standard contract and then they bring him up? And is Carlo Matkovic going to start playing, and be a thing? And it's a very confusing roster to figure out what they're going to do.
It's a hugely confusing situation, especially because it seemed like we'd get some kind of data point on the Pelicans on Monday night. And instead, Alvarado got a handful of minutes, and Jordan Hawkins got a handful of minutes, and Javonte Green got a handful of minutes, and Carlo Matkovic got actually slightly more than a handful of minutes. And like, who the hell is going to play when this team finally pivots hard into the tank? I thought maybe it would be Hawkins, but it didn't look like he was a part of anything. Yes, I mean, I don't know if some of that was him coming back from this illness that's been wiping everybody out in the
Yeah.
NBA, which, by the way, I think I may have had that. If it's the flu that they're all getting, I can understand why they're not playing for 5 or 6 days. But you're right, though. I don't know if I have the good answer on the Pelicans one. Alvarado's the guy who has the best fantasy profile of all of these dudes because he gets assists and steals. And so that's kind of like an easy path to 9 cat value. Would you, thinking through some of these names, again, talking to Barutha Alex on Twitter, and just Barutha over on the Blue Sky Network, would you use a roster spot on some of these guys on the Pels, or is this a still let's wait and see what happens at the trade deadline team? Because it does feels like there's a lot that still needs to go down with this club.
I think I would definitely consider using one on Alvarado
Mm-hmm.
because we saw him earlier in the season have, standard league value. The other guys I think are mostly flyers because, like, Hawkins is kind of a 1 or 2 cat guy, and I like the idea of Matkovic. I mean, his per minute numbers for fantasy are pretty solid. I mean, he's not a very good scorer, but he's like a rebounds, blocks guy. Has been pretty good at steals and assists. So I wonder if later in the year Matkovic is someone who will pop up as like a 14 or a 16 team league guy. But it's hard for me to sit here and even tell you in a 16 team league, like, you have to pick him up.
Yeah,
Like, there are
it's fair.
situations, like, because a lot of people in Yahoo leagues are in 2 center leagues. If you're in a 2 center 16 team league, yeah, sure, man.
Yeah.
Pick up Makovich because who else is, like, really available for you?
What do you think about Eve Misi down the stretch on this team?
He should play a lot. I mean, I don't necessarily like his fit with Zion, and I think that's sort of
Yeah,
always been the concern. Um, but Makovich can actually shoot a little bit, right? So
yeah.
on the year. Um, he's taken 5 threes, but he's barely played. So I do wonder what that turns into.
Guessing
And I
that's
think
more than I'm guessing that's more than Missy's taken, who has played.
yes, I doubt he's even taken a 3. 1 3-point attempt, probably a heave.
Probably a heave.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you're the Pelicans, I mean, you got this 20-year-old guy you drafted in the first round. He looks really good. He's in the rookie of the year conversation. I think you want to play him as much as possible and just help him develop.
How many other Street Fighter destinations do you have on the list here? Just grading out time. Where's our plane headed next? And yeah, so
Well,
where else do you want to cover basically? Because
well,
I'm happy to go wherever.
I'll list them and then you can grab on to.
Okay.
So I have another like what's going on question about the Charlotte Hornets. What's going on there? Same with Portland. What are they going to do?
Yeah, they're suddenly
Utah
good.
suddenly good. Utah, I think we kind of all know the story in Utah, so I don't know how much time we actually would spend on that in theory. And then also what's going to happen in Toronto,
Yeah, because
because
they're also suddenly okay.
yeah,
Although theirs makes a little more sense because they were so banged up early in the year. Let's do Portland because
okay.
to me they are the great enigma because we all were like, awesome. This team has these annoying vets that are sort of playing throughout the regular season, and we're not going to have to worry about that late February through the end of the year. And now all of a sudden, Portland is a freaking team of world beaters, and DeAndre Ayton's going 2020, although, he always plays a little harder against the Phoenix Suns, but he's actually been pretty good the last 4 or 5 games in a row. The Blazers still only 21 and 29 because of how bad they were before that, but they've won 8 out of their last 9 games, and somehow they're only 4.5 games out of the play-in spot, which is not to say they're going to go get it, but they may delude themselves into thinking that they can go get it. So what do you think? I don't know that there's a right answer here because for a long time we were all like Donovan Kling is going to get to play a ton down the stretch, and Jeremy Grant's going to get traded or shut down. So Denny Avdia is going to have a crap ton of room to operate, and Tumani Kamara has been coming on, and maybe he'll get more shots after the deadline. And now I'll be honest with you, Alex, I don't actually know what the Blazers are about to do, other than Robert Williams. He feels like the one truly expendable piece on that team because he's not playing right now anyway.
There's only one 30-year-old on this team, and it is Jeremy Grant. Everybody else is under 30. Yeah, Rob Williams seems like he's going to get traded. So that would open up some Klingon, regardless of what happens with DeAndre Ayton, right? That definitely opens up more consistent minutes for Klingon. So I think Klingon is a fine stash just because of that. And but you said it. I mean, Ayton's 26. He's not, he's not 30. And I don't think anybody's trading for Ayton, to be clear. I
Yeah,
highly doubt anybody is out there trading for Ayton. It also doesn't really seem like they're interested in moving like Anthony Simons. Um, and so like how much really opens up for Scoot Henderson? And I don't even want to speak the name Delano Banton. I don't even want to talk about because that's like he's number one March and April guy. But I think the sort of short answer on this is like you should feel pretty comfortable stashing Ayton. Anybody beyond that
sure.
just does not feel that safe as a stash.
Klingen, right?
Klingon, is that what I say? Ayton?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant Klingon. Please do not stash DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, I think
I meant
we knew what you meant on that one. Yeah, Portland is so weird. I mean, are you rostering Scoot right now? Because I am.
I don't have any scoop, but I would if he was available. Like I
Yeah.
tried to get him and missed.
Man, so weird. Mike Barner was on the show and he mentioned that Jeremy Grant still has not played a game in April in like 4 or 5
Yeah,
seasons running. Is this the year that he finally plays an April game, do you think?
I don't
No.
think so.
No.
No,
Still
I really don't.
they're still going to be mathematically eliminated by like
But
April 1. So,
but
but maybe he'll
the
go by math for the first time in a while, not just like, yeah, I think this is pretty good. Day's work is done kind of moving.
But the thing is, we've already seen so many minutes without Jeremy Grant that, in theory, we should know who's the
Yeah.
main beneficiaries, and it's like it already. Tumani Kamara should already be rostered in most places. So if he's not, grab Kamara for sure. Maybe I buried that because I just assume Kamara is rostered in most 12-team leagues. But I think you should roster Kamara. Avdia definitely should be rostered. But I really have no faith in like Chris Murray,
Yeah.
Jabari Walker. I know these guys have occasionally shown stuff, but it's nothing I would stash.
Yeah, I agree. All right, give me some lightning round names before I let you go.
Lightning round names.
Well, what was the other one? You said Charlotte and
Yeah.
Utah. So, quick thoughts on Charlotte and Utah, I guess.
Yeah, Charlotte's like Josh Okogie has been fine. Like if you need steals in your 8 or 9 cat league, sure, why not? And then like deep cut, I Micic is old. So what are they going to do there? Um, is Tijan Salon going to just show up in mid-March? I don't know.
That's a great point, by the way. We've heard nothing about him, and he was their first round pick.
I like him long term, but he is like very, very raw. Very raw. Makes a lot of mistakes. He's just a ball of lightning right now.
I really hope
Um
we see LaMelo Ball again at some point in the next couple of
I
weeks. I can't like another completely broken season is almost too much to handle.
I hope so too, but they have 12 wins. You know,
They're
I-
so bad. They're still so bad.
12 wins. Yeah, and then for Utah, it's just, Sensabaugh could end up just being just jacking up a ton of threes after the trade deadline. I think Isaiah Collier is a must roster player in 12-team leagues. I continue to be surprised week after week that he wasn't being rostered in a lot of 12-team leagues. So I think those are just the primary two guys. Although Filipowski is gonna, I think we'll hear something from Filipowski.
Yeah, it feels like we need Walker Kessler to get a day off in there. That'd be nice because they dumped Eubanks, so at least
Yeah.
that's Filipowski's like one little peg closer to it. You know what I forgot to ask you? This is a rookie mistake on my part. What are you working on these days? Hit me with some promo.
Some promo. Well, the biggest promo I can give you is rotowire.com/try. It's a free trial of all the premium
Ooh,
features on RotoWire. So ROTOWIRE/try, free premium trial for I think it's 2 days or a week. Can't remember, but
there.
why not?
That's what
Um,
That's what that looks like.
Thank you.
Welcome.
But I mean, in general, if you go to the RotoWire NBA homepage, like we got all of our articles and stuff on there, and I host the RotoWire NBA show on Sirius XM channel 86 at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's scheduled Monday through Friday. That will be happening today. Yeah, those are the main things.
There we go. That was the most technologically advanced thing that I think I've ever done on this site. Like quick fire up the promo, quick get over to the RotoWire page, and that's as much as my video skills can handle. Thank you, StreamYard, for helping me work my way
Yes.
through that one. Alex, you the man, dude. Thank you for bringing, I think, 25 potential
Yeah.
second half winners to the table. It's fun though to sort through them, and I'm keeping sort of like a running list. So that way, as things break over the course of this week, I can be like, check out this show. We talked about this. We talked about that. And plus, there will probably be some bragging rights at the end if like we come back to the table and you're the only person in this stash series that had mentioned Carlo Matkovic. So if that name comes through, that's all you, man. No one
Right.
else gets credit for that one. And the great Thunder Dan was on yesterday's show and was able to sort of point and be like, I told you guys about Denny. And it's true. We didn't all listen to him about Denny. So we're going for bragging rights. That's also part of the fun around here. At Barutha, Twitter, just Barutha over at Blue Sky. Alex, thank you so much for rearranging your schedule and doing this with me at a different time today. I really appreciate it, man. It's always a damn pleasure. So thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I'll tell you what, that man, Alex Barutha, knows his frickin' NBA rosters. So here's the thing. I know we talked about 15, 20 guys. You're obviously not stashing 15 to 20 guys, but it was a nice opportunity to sort of fine tooth comb it. I can't help but picture the scene from Spaceballs where they're combing the desert. So we combed the desert here on today's program, and it's all about figuring out which guys are already rising to the top, which ones might rise in the next 2 days, which ones rise through March, and kind of plotting a course because you create a watch list. It's easy to forget names. It's easy to lose stuff in the mix, and it's why you watch the games live. It's why if you can't watch every ball game, no one can watch every game. You're checking scores live flipping through channels, whatever, and you see how guys are evolving. You see how their roles are evolving. What do they become? Do their fantasy games translate? All that fun stuff. So thank you to Alex. Third time, I believe, that we've had Alex on the program here on Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. And before we go, opportunity to remind you guys of our buddies over at UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up today using promo code OLDMAN, OLDMAN, or click on the referral link that's in the show description for a deposit match bonus up to $1,000 and a free play that you can use at your discretion. The free play basically means that normally, if you create a pick'em lineup, and I'm showing some pick'em stuff up on the screen here, I'll talk about that in just a second. Normally, you need two. You need two names to win a pick'em lineup. With the free play, you only need one. It's a great way to boost those odds and really give yourself a nice chance to win. What you guys can see on your screen are my last few pick'em plays. I lost a couple and then I won one. Yesterday, we went Nas Reed over PRA. We went Malik Monk over PRA. Those ones hit. The Monk one took a little bit later. Nas Reed went crazy early in the ball game. That one was almost a gimme by like the middle of the second quarter. And then they run other promos over time as well. Like you can see on your screen, the last one that I lost, they had a 77% profit boost that you could kick in on a play. I decided to go 3 players just to like see what would happen. You guys can also see that I have $90 in my account. Underdog put 100 of credit, so that way when I play, I'll have something that I can play with you guys. So thank you to Underdog for giving me just some cash to mess around with. And we're just going to keep playing. So let's see what's going on today. It's a lighter card today, if I'm not mistaken, right? What are we working with here? 7 games on a Tuesday. Let's zoom out a little bit so I can actually see the pick'em card. We're going to go to the main page. We're going to go to NBA. They've got a 59% profit boost going today. Why is that one happening? I'd like to learn more about it. 59% profit boost. What's the rules? I'm going to the Underdog fantasy page to see if I can figure out why they've got that going. I don't know why they've got that going, but you have to pick 3 names to use it just to make life a little bit more complicated. I'm going to collapse all so I can see all the different games. You got Dallas at Phoenix. Anthony Davis not ready to make his debut yet. Knicks are in Toronto. Houston in Brooklyn on the back-to-back at start of the 5-game week. Boston, Cleveland, Miami, Chicago, Indy, Portland, and the Lakers are in LA taking Intuit Dome taking on the Clippers. So I'm going to go to the Lakers-Clippers game because I think I have some feelings on this one. Lakers without Anthony Davis. Clippers, this is also for the Lakers. I know this is technically a road game, but this is their first game back home in Los Angeles at the end of their Grammy trip. So this is like the everybody's exhausted game. I don't know exactly how high they're going to run, but someone like a Derek Jones or a Norman Powell, these are guys that always toast the Lakers. And if LA is without any rim protection, which I don't think Jackson Hayes is going to get going all that much, then he's in real trouble. Ivica Zubac would be another one to look at. He's been rebounding like a Goliath. So let's go higher on Zubac on 28.5, I think is an attainable number. It's also kind of a popular play. I get that. So I'm a little bit of a public play for me on that one. I just don't think they have anybody that's going to slow him down near the rim. I would go points, but I'm also worried this game's going to be a blowout. So I'm just going to give it an opportunity to have some rebounds and a couple of assists as well. If I'm going to go at the Lakers side, I don't know if LeBron's going to be able to do enough by himself, but I'm not going to go under because a lot of weird stuff could go down in that ball game. Portland had that crazy finish with Phoenix yesterday. I think that game was in Portland, right? Yeah, that game was in Portland, and they're rolling right now. Indy in Portland against a rolling Blazers team. Do I want to go over or under for some of these guys? You know what? I don't know. The Blazers keep rotating through bodies. That's kind of a hard one. We really want to go with a team where you know what you're going to get. Boston, Cleveland's a fun one. You got to think the stars are going to show out in this one. Let me go. Man, I kind of wanted to go higher on Donovan Mitchell, but that's already odds trimmed a little bit. I think Donovan Mitchell's going to get nuts. We'll go higher on Donovan Mitchell. And who do I think gets shut down in this game? This is some weirdo players. I have no idea who's going to get shut down in this one. Houston, Brooklyn. This is off the game in New York. I don't even know if Alperen Şengün is playing. D'Lo, Nick Claxton, Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson. Amen Thompson's been so good lately, but the back-to-back is confusing. Zaire Williams has been kind of good. Do we want to go Zaire Williams and hope that he gets something? Nah, Houston defensively is too tough. This would be a spot to do an under, but Brooklyn is too damn unpredictable. I want to pick one more team here. Toronto's been pretty good lately. We'll go lower. We'll go lower on quickly because he's got a serious minutes cap going right now. So we'll go lower on quickly and throw this 59% profit boost in. And we're gonna make this just a $2 play. This is a throwaway. All right, there we go. Done. Zubats higher, PRA. Donovan Mitchell higher, PRA. Emmanuel Quickly lower. Let's hope the minutes cap keeps him in check. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's the end of our show. And it seems like perhaps we're having some slight technical difficulties at the end of the program anyway. So perfect time to wrap things up. Hopefully the audio is working, even if the video is not. I am Dan Vespris. You got to subscribe if you made it this far. Thanks again to Alex Barutha for hanging out with us here on another Stash episode. This is Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. Hit that like button on the way out as well. We'll see you guys soon.